Hey, it's Delphine, and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm gonna show you how to make this bass sound. It's this one in particular. Okay, if you look at all the plugins I've used, it might look a little scary, but it's pretty easy. So here, there's quite a bit of automation as well, which I'll show you how to do. But first, start with just the Serum patch. So I'll just turn all the effects off, and this is what it sounds like. It's pretty easy. It's just basic FM. There are no effects, so it's just this. Here, oscillator A, basic shapes, is just a simple square wave. Oscillator B is just a simple saw wave. They are both at the same octave. Oscillator A is being modulated by B, and there's also a sub bass. So here I made this simple LFO, and I just put it on the FM from B. Plus, automating the sync. So here I'll show you the automation. Okay, so here is the first one. So when it's going up, the sync is doing this, and the sound gets like a higher pitch. Well, this might be for the second drop. Sounds kind of cool. So the first thing I did is just to create this auto filter. It's just a simple bandpass, which is this one in the middle, and I changed the slope to 12 from 24, plus the resonance is at 0 by default, so I just turned it up to 55, and I mapped the frequency to this macro button. So if you don't know how to create this, so you just take any plugin, plus Control or Command G if you're on Mac, and you get the audio effect rack. If you then click this button, you get this tab, and I'll show you how to assign everything. So here, if you want to assign this frequency to this macro, you just click on here, and here you have all the map options. So you just click the first one, and it will get mapped to the first knob here. If you want to change the range, you have to go to map, and over here you can change the min and max value, but I didn't do that. It's just an option for you. Okay, so now it sounds like this. This is the most important movement of the sound. You'll have to fiddle with the automation a bit to make it sound exactly like you want. And once you do that, you just put on a saturator, because you basically cut off most of the frequencies, and the saturator will introduce some more on the high end. But the sound got weak. So to compensate for that, you just press Control or Command D, and you'll duplicate this chain. And then I deleted the auto filter and replaced it with EQ. So now this is the original sound without the bandpass, which keeps the low end intact. and it's introducing a little bit more filter movement. This is what it sounds like without the first chain. The saturator is exactly the same, and I'm just moving this notch with another automation clip. And those two together sound like this. So you get the fullness back, and you also get the filter movement. Next up, I added this Morph EQ, which is not doing that much. It's just basically making the high end a little bit more interesting. So this is what it looks like. It's just one of the presets, beat waves. And if you look at the automation, which is the last one, it's very basic. If you don't have Morph EQ, which you probably don't, but I highly recommend you to get it because it's just awesome. You can very easily recreate this with any other parametric EQ. You just get these 4 points and you get them moving exactly how they are moving here. It's not that hard to do, but if you don't want to do that, you don't even have to add this step. So let's have a look at the next audio effect rack, and the main thing I'm doing is just I'm distorting the sound. Vinyl distortion is very interesting. You can hear how it's introducing the stereo width, and I wanted to make it more interesting, so I'm automating the gain. Here, if this utility wasn't here, it just sounds fucking awful. Because the more loudness you drive into it, the more distorted will become, and therefore the wider it will be. But you don't want the volume to change. So how to do this? I'm trying to balance for the loudness. So this one is going minus 35 dB, and the first one is going plus 35 dB. So once I drive the utility into the vinyl distortion, it will just get more distorted and wider, but the volume doesn't change at all. And that's exactly what I was looking for. So you can hear that the sound was quite destroyed. So again, I did the same thing as in the first effect chain, and I just duplicated everything and I deleted all the effects. So this is just the dry sound. And once I add the vinyl distortion, you get the sound. And the final thing, I just always make my basses clip at the end, so the volume doesn't go over 0 dB. Without it, it just makes it more full and easier to mix at the end, because if you do this with all your basses, so they end up at the same level basically, then you don't have to really mix anything at the end, and you know where all the levels are. Okay, and that's it. If you learned something new, hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.